So there was a whole brouhaha going on after the Maimer, as you can all appreciate. Having learned the Maimer, the talking Tavshin Chafei, we haven't finished yet, but still, this is critical. So we're going to learn the Ha'orah. The Ha'orah, so Rabbi wrote it up, digest of the Sichos, the Rabbi said over several two Fabrengens. I'm going to get it in a second. No, this is the wrong sefer. Yeah, it's not here. What happened to it? It's in. Okay, so I'm going to use also my phone. Okay. So this. Too bad. Okay. Okay, order 29. He said in the Prim and the Maimer over there, basically what the whole discussion is that the Maimer is saying that in rare places in Chassidus and Kabbalah, I'm not going to repeat everything. It's just we did this over the last few shiurim at great length. I'm not going to repeat the whole thing again. But in rare places in Chassidus and Kabbalah talks about the Tzimtzum before the Tzimtzum Arishan. There are several Tzimtzumim. That's a subject matter. Now, the Shaila basically that Melech Tzvibol had written is that these Tzimtzumim, and the Rebbe explains them, Amuch Lechapi Seichel, drawing the analogy of the Nefesh Adam. So why is it such a chiddush, and why are they in rare places in Kabbalah and Chassidus? That's the Rebbe is addressing over here, as well as other related questions which we spoke about in the last 5 or so shiurim. So order 29. So just to get this is a different Maimer, Tavshin Mem Zayin, and in this Maimer, as I just told you, Rabbi distills the Rebbe's responses in this order, and there's a very big. Rabbi related a very big change in one letter that the Rebbe made in the order, at least one that I heard from him. So the Pnim of in this Maimer says, just at the top of the bridge, removing Sham Shachas Arish Mepchinas Gilui Me'a'ira Kol Ba'atzmos Amoid. He makes the point here in this Maimer, which it says in rare places in Chassidus, and that is that the revelation of the Oyer in a revealed way from the Oyer that it's kolol in Atzmos Amoid is through a Tzimtzum. Okay, let's look at the order. Now we define what Tzimtzum means. Tzimtzum means it's on the one hand it's a radical step. It's a radical step, but it's not Yesh Ma'ayin. Yesh Ma'ayin is not a radical step. A radical step I'm talking about of the Eibishter. Tzimtzum means a radical step of God in expressing himself. Yesh Ma'ayin is not a radical step in God expressing himself. Yesh Ma'ayin is creating something out of nothing. That is a different inyan, and that's Mekaycha Atzmos only. That's dealt with in the previous order. Now let's look at order 28. He just said now that there's a tzimtzum between the emphasis by saying tzimtzum here means that again, it's not a yesh ma'ayin, that it's God himself undergoing a process of contraction, concealment. That's the point. ומקושקים מאיר השמש, ומשמעו סויר השמש, המשכוסוי, של איר המספשת מאיר הכל במשמש, על ידי נרתק. Now the light of the sun, from the light that comes, that is manifested, that it's sourced in the light that's there in the sun, as he explains there is light in the sun, even though there it's very intense, but it's not discernible, it's completely bottled to the fiery mass of the sun. So to go from the light the way it is within the sun itself, to manifest as light as we know it, that's through a nartik, it's through a whole screen. So how much more so, he's saying, that there is the tzimtzum, that's the physical sun needs this radical nartik. How much more so, that's the physical sun. How much more so, obviously, the nimshal, talking about the Eibishter. So to go from the oir, as it is in Mo'ir, as it's bound up with Atzmos, that's a tzimtzum. Now, l'chayra, that's a logical thing. So why is it called a chiddush? This is, the Rebbe is responding here actually to Rabbi Melech Tzvibel, who had written the question that I just mentioned in Haras Ubiyurim. And here's the Rebbe's answering. As summarized by Rabbi Yoel in this Ha'ara, the Rebbe edited. Mizem Omash moving in and that this Inyan, we're talking about now. We're talking about Tzimtzum. This is before the Tzimtzum Adishim. We're talking here in Atzmos, in the Moed, as it's bound up in Atzmos. So the fact that this Tzimtzum, before the Tzimtzum Adishim, is brought in Teres Achsidis B'derech Chiddush, is something novel. Why is it novel? It's self-understood. It's self-understood, as Rebbe explained, the Nefesh, the Etzem HaNefesh, is pure energy and pure yechelis. It could manifest anyway, and any kind of revelation is a process of tzimtzum. It's a kind of a choice. Another way to say tzimtzum is a choice by which God chooses to manifest, and therefore that's imprinted in the way the soul works as well. The pure energy could manifest endless way. It manifests with seichel and midas and so on. That's a tzimtzum. That's what tzimtzum means. So why is this b'derech chidush? Ula yesh loimer. Ula yesh loimer. Not just yesh loimer, not ula. Tezeh gufa, this itself, listen carefully. I said this to you outside already. We're just reading inside the text. Tezeh gufa shetetchila hayer kolul b'meranim shacher sheb'b'chinas giloi. The fact that there should be the inyan of oir already within Atzmos. And from there should be giloi. Well, chiddush godla, that's a big chiddush. What's the big chiddush? Why should there be oir altogether? Why that Atzmos? What he's basically asking is, this is a more logical way. Okay, they used to want to say there's Dalshalas. We get that. Nisavakalis Baruch, he wants a dir b'tachtoinim. So in order to have a dir b'tachtoinim, so why not just start with the oil lifnei atzimtzum as a kind of a bria yesh ma'ayid, as a radical creation. Why start this whole process within Atzmos? And then and then you say that there's tzimtzum, which means that this is him. That's not logical. As you'll say further, let's see inside. Since Hashem is no boundary, Hashem could have produced an oil without this stage before, where the oil is included in the moed, and the moed as it's included in the atzmos. And even the actually manifested revelation of God, He could have made an oir shaykh l'oilamus, mibli sheyuktem tchilas oir shlemayim b'shaychus oilamus. That would start with Atzilus. Go from Atzilus to Atzilus. God can't do that. You don't even need the oir ablikvul. And you certainly don't need the oir, the whole process to begin so deeply within the self of God in the moir as it's bound up in Atzmos. V'yadarab. On the contrary, we'd expect it to work this way. Mitzad seichel, hay mistaber loimer, logic would say, mikivin shasei dishtashus ilav olo. Since the whole process of Seder Shtalshalus is God wants to make an orderly, structured manifestation of godliness of cause and effect. That it's a chain of command, that every result comes from a cause that precedes it. And that all happens. Why? Why is God doing this? Because he wants it to be logical for us. So this whole process of Ilah v'Olol should start post Tzimtzum, not before. Now, what the Rebbe changed and what Rabbi wrote before is, he wrote, why did God do it? Because it should be understood by intellect. He wants a relationship with us. And he wrote a base. The Rebbe changed the base to a lamed. What's the difference? Think about it and to give me the answer. Not no. Very profound difference. Yankee, want to say something?
I mean, that this is now our source, so it's like Mibasari Echsel Leika. The marker listen.
How are you answering this between le and be?
So it's a biseichel, meaning he could come up with something, or this is the source for it itself.
I don't understand what you're saying.
Saying the difference between biseichel or liseichel?
Yeah.
Biseichel, he could come up with it in his mind. So in his mind, he could.
Who's he? Who's he talking about?
Person. Or it's a marker to his actual seichel.
He could come up with what in his mind?
We're saying this the Eibishter, that he can now in his mind he could have some type of understanding.
And I mean,
or this is
the question.
That his whole seichel is sourced from this.
Go back. He could come up with something in his mind. He's going to make up stuff. What are you saying?
If it's biseichel,
no, he can have an understanding in his mind, in biseichel, or he could have the understanding that his whole seichel is from this. From this ilav olo. That
biseichel is the understanding. Biseichel. What?
His own seichel.
There's a McGill student sitting here, or a Mir Yeshiva. I don't think it's what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's still in the Chachma.
Explain to him one way. One B'seichel is wrong. L'seichel is right. Now, so I want to hear the right and wrong. What are you saying? Now, maybe you're saying it. I'm not.
The seichel is separate. He's like, there's my seichel, and he's separate from the in his as if he's a separate thing. He's in his seichel. He's thinking about this or realizing this.
Just
he is.
Furthering to what
but he is. But he is. But he is.
But
learning chassidus, you're in your seichel learning about godliness.
Well, what's the makar of the seichel? Who made the seichel? Where did it come from? It's part of this whole process of Seder Shtalshalus.
Just to does it make sense to say that
I see what you're saying. Hang on. Okay, you're saying that it could, but it's missing the. So give me what's wrong. Give me the fundamental error by saying b'seich.
That he's a separate thing. He's an independent. He's his own metzias.
Yes, but missing big but here. Go ahead. No.
Yeah, save me, Yirmiyahu.
So is it the difference between when the Alter Rebbe speaks in Tanya about the idea of an idea, when properly understood, is fully comprehended and internalized? So it's not just that the idea is given to be allowed to be understood or to be put into intellectual terms, but Buseichel is that it should be so encompassed by the person that it changes them.
I don't hear between le and bur yet. To and in. It's a whole difference here. To seichel, in seichel.
To seichel is it presents itself to your ability to understand.
Yeah.
In seichel is that it's encompassed by your mind, that it becomes a transformative quality through a deep contemplation and internalization.
So you'll bring out the mile of bur seichel. They haven't changed it from bur. Look at the order. You have it? You don't see it in front of you?
I'm not while I'm on my phone.
Okay, so the answer is, I mean, you're kind of saying it's much starker. When you say that the Eibishter made Seder Shtalshalis in order that it should be understood in Seichel, if you say Ber Seichel, then you're saying that Seichel is a given. You're saying it. I'm unpacking what you're saying a little bit. You're saying that Seichel is a given. Now, God wants that the human mind should understand Him, so He manifests Seder Shtalshalis in similar fashion. But what you're saying, and I'm just elaborating, is that Seichel is not a given. So now take it to the end. So why did He make it Seder Shtalshalos this way? Because He wanted to make a nivra that's going to have such and such agbolas. It's all pointing to the Eibishter. Therefore, He's going to make Seder Shtalshalos reflect those agbolas. And you were saying that, but just what I wanted to do was what Ber Seichel means, that Seichel is a given reality. It's a given virtue. It's not. It's only there as a reflection of Seder Shtalshalos. He said that basically, not saying otherwise. At anyway, we're mid concept here. So the Rebbe is saying that why need all these zimtzumim if the whole point is the Eibush is mitzamsim himself. The whole reason is what? That a human seichel in the end should understand how to mistabel loimer. So I would think more logical. The ilav olul rak bebchinas shachar atzimtzum. When is the whole ilav olul start? Not in Moyer, not in Atzmus, but after the tzimtzum. Well, the chol hayoser at very most lachei sheshna kvar oisha b'chinas gilui. Not in Moyer in Atzmus. But once already you have Gilui Lifnei Atzimtzum. So why do you have to make this whole process? It's not negated to us to say the Shtalshalos. In the end, Taka, because we made in His image, so the Nefesh Adam works the same way, Taka. But why does it have to work that way? In the bowels of the essence of the soul, we're a conscious entity that has Seichel and Midas. So good. So the Eibishter will manifest Himself from Atzmos, go to Oyer and Saf Ablikvul, that's it. Produce that. No tzimtzumim within Atzmos and Moyer and Kolab and Moyer, and this whole Ilav Olol process. It's an Ilav Olol process already within Atzmos, as it were. It's Mavil. Rebbe said the words Mavil. Why would this be? Start with it at most from Atzmos, Oyer Ablikvul, and then Ishtalshalos. So it concludes, and that's the big news that it says in rare places of Chassidus. No, she say the ilav olalu gam lifnei tzimtzum. That this whole ilav olalu starts before the tzimtzum, va'oir ashayich l'olam, and therefore the light that ends up, the revelation of God that ends up invested in creation, olalu v'nimshach va'oir shalamayim meshayich l'olam. We trace it back directly to the Oyer, which is higher than Olam. We say, moreover, Shagam Klolos Oyer Olo Al Nimshach Me'ila, the whole union of Oyer is already found there in Atzmos. Oyer HaKol B'Atzmos, the union of Oyer, you're saying Bekitzer starts already in Oyer HaKol B'Atzmos. And the question is logically just start on from Atzmos, not Kol, like a Yesh Ma'ayin. And then you have Seidah Shtalshalos. So the end he didn't do that. So what does it mean? I think that the Pshat is, I said the other day, a relationship is two ways, obviously. So if it were just, he says, Mr. Beloimer, he says the logical way, and go from Atzmos state straight to Nishtalshalos and the Atzmos Nishtalshalos, that's what he's saying. Atzmos Nishtalshalos, then we'd have a relationship with God. That's true. We have a relationship with divinity. But he's not really invested in it. He's produced it. By making the holy, what he's doing is he's making Ishtalshalos within himself, as it were. Not Muchrach. Atzmos, Moed, the Tzimtzumim, the whole process of Ishtalshalos. That's what Tzimtzum means, a process of Ishtalshalos, Ilav Olol. Hashem has to produce the system, you don't need that. But he wants that system to be not something that he's the author of. It's divinity. He's the author of it. But rather that he's actually, Kavayachal, he's with strong words, carved it out within himself. Kavayachal carved it out within himself. Whole Seidah Shtalshalos. So that, taking it to the next step, what it means is, this is all expression of God's choice to be affected by us, because it's a whole chain of command now, it's all interconnected.
Is this connected to the Lamata Mata Adin Tachlis Inyan? Of now, because of that now.
Oh no, if I can't, this is the Mail Madid Adin Katz. That it's this Adinab, that the whole Tzimtzum or Hishtalshalos is within him.
But because of that, now the Arin Saif is a product of everything. Meaning because it's so personal.
There's the Oirin Sof, which is Mamala Mokim Acholol. There's three Tzimtzumim before that start in Atzmos HaMo'ir. That's the Mail Madin Katz in the end. That the union of Gvul and Tzimtzum, which we're thrust into, I have Kavayachol made within me. I've made it integral to the way I express myself in the deepest self, what levels beyond conscious relationship to you, which starts with Atzilus, or the Tzimtzum Arishan, or even the Eirins of Lifnei Tzimtzum and Malam Akam Acholol. They're all very relatable. And all very, that you could argue, okay, they're kind of logical to producing the system. But start there. No. He starts the system with himself. Tzimtzum and Do'er and Spashta. Why? And that's the Oitzer. I've thrust myself into Hagbolah, says God, in the most intimate, atmistic place. The Tzimtzum, Koich HaGvul, containment, starts where? In Atzmos. Atzmos HaMoir, from the Oir HaKolol and the Moir, which is Kol and Atzmos are all inseparable, there's a Tzimtzum already. So the Nisava HaKadosh Baruch of Dir B'Tachtonim, this whole thing is because Dir B'Tachtonim, is God is telling us, it is intimately bound up with my very essential self. The Nisava, much Atzmos is Nisava. So much Atzmos is Nisava that the union of Tzimtzum is already there within him. Kavayoch. Not Kavayoch, that's the Mitzvah, by his choice. L'chayra, this is the Pshat.
It says by the star, you have it, reading from the same place.
Yeah.
That's
That's exactly what we're saying.
Right.
Only the Yesha, that's something else. But the Tzimtzum is not something else. The Tzimtzum, that's integral to him. Only creation is a Dovar Chodesh.
Right, so you could also say that we asked the question, why couldn't it just make instead of having the Evo right, encompassing, instead of having, or Atzmos. why
Just
don't you
start
make
with
the
Atzmos.
structure-
Yeah,
So this also, it's like, you could look at it both ways,
meaning,
saying that would be a yesh.
yeah, but it'll be a yesh. Yeah, in Chalam Tzorich Iyun will be a little bit there, but it'll be a yesh of
Obviously
not a yesh nivra, a yesh of velikus.
Right, but still,
But that would satisfy enough. That would satisfy enough for us to have a relationship with divinity. So, take what you
still
take.
not Atzmos.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. I just don't. That's the point here. I want a relationship, God said, not just with divinity, but with my very essence, and therefore I'm carving out your whole limitation in me. And I want a relationship with you. So your hagbolas, kavayochel, tzimtzum, kechagvul, I'm making integral to myself in the most intimate levels. Atzmos hamoed. Hakol b'moed. In the words of the HaChodesh says that the oil which is kol in the moed and the moed in atzmos, all inseparable. And then there are tzimtzumim there. From moed to the oil and the rakol and the rakol and to the manifest and all the steps till it gets to the Eitz Chaim, who starts off, opens the curtain on this whole discussion on God. He starts off with the oil lifnei a tzimtzum, fulfilling the whole Metzias. Because that's the stage of Ishtalshalas. In rare places, Chassidus whispers, and Kabbalah says that it was now thundering it. In this Maimah, it doesn't start there, friends. You'd think it would, but it doesn't. He started this whole place within himself, this whole Inyan of Akbala. And that's the Oitzer. And that's the Oitzer. Just one thing of the Tzarech Ian here in this order I need to understand. No, so he's saying that Mistab Elohim, what's more logical? You want to say the Shtalshalas? So go from Atzmos to the oil lifnei tzimtzum, like the Eitz Chaim starts. That's not a Bria Yesh Ma'ayin. It's not a Bria Yesh Ma'ayin. With such a lashon there. No, it's not. With Tzadzesh, we speak tzimtzum atzme kavayachol b'tei sheyimakam l'seichel. Yeah. So you want us to know you. You want us to know you in a way which is in the system. So go from Atzmos, you can do anything, not limited in any process. Just do what is necessary. And what's necessary is to manifest the Eira Blikvul and then it's Tzimtzum and then Seder Stavshalas. That'll do the job. In other words, God doesn't make any steps that are not critical, and it's a principle in Torah. If something, hello?
yeah. I'm gonna say on your phone.
If something can be done in one step, you don't take two steps. So if the objective is to make it say the Shtalshalos, then start with projecting Ein Sof HaBlikvul. That's Mistaber. Yeah, you said it's more logical. In terms of the goal of a Mokim L'Seichel. Good, not Mokim B'Seichel, Mokim L'Seichel. There's no need to have this tzimtzumim within the very self, the very Godhead. And that's the chiddush. And that's the oitzer. It's like imay anoichi b'tzara. Anoichi atzmos. I put you in tzara, in gvul. I did that to myself in the highest levels. Okay, we'll continue Beis Hashem tomorrow in the Maimer.